Hello, YouTube. Caldelis Gamer here with another Arc Raiders. Now, I know my YouTube channel lately has been pumping out videos about Stellar Blade. Not gonna lie, that's a very good game, and I really love that game. Of course, that game was kind of like a Gunner game because of the aesthetic pleasing visuals of the main protagonist, Eve. But is there's nothing like sexual in terms of actions or how do I say gameplay. The gameplay plays like Dark Souls, and it's a purely an action game that's something common that you see in fighting games that's very appropriate. The only thing that's inappropriate and is borderline, like it's hitting that borderline in terms of sexuality, is basically the visuals of Eve herself. But anyway, oh sorry, I got a little gasp there because I drank a lot of soda. But anyway, back to the subject of this video. Um, Arc Raiders, I really love it. It reminds me of Modern Warfare 2 DMZ, which by the way I have tons of video footage. The only reason why I didn't post it here in my YouTube channel is because those video footage they're over 2 years old. And if you guys remember the origin of this YouTube channel, is that I started this YouTube channel all because my original YouTube channel got taken down, all because I was playing Soul Calibur, and I got super pissed when YouTube took it down. So I remake a new YouTube channel, which is this one, and of course I continue doing what I was doing, which is basically playing Water Tanks, playing Helldivers 2, and featuring here and there with Call of Duty, but Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was such a letdown. It was such a letdown that I refused to buy the game and, even try it out. I kind of knew it was going to be a slop, but Arc Raiders, it filled the void of that, and oh boy, I love it. I really do love it. It's basically, best way I could put it, it plays like, or it feels familiar with Call of Duty DMC, but this one is more, how do I say this, refined and more like everything has a purpose in this game. Everything has a purpose. Best way I could put it, in this game, unlike Call of Duty DMC, in this game, everything that you get, every loot, every item that you could scavenge, it has a purpose. Back in Modern Warfare DMZ, almost everything does not have a purpose. um, yeah, there were a few things that technically does have a purpose, but nobody paid really attention to it. Like there's some were just fillers, items in terms of scavenging parts, but it didn't felt like, how do I say it? There's in depth. Best way I could put it, in depth. But here in Arc Raiders, everything, including the small little stuff like rubber parts, plastics, even chemicals. They all have a purpose and reason for you to scavenge in and collect them. Until, of course, you find better items. And when you find better items, obviously you want to keep them in your backpack and get the hell out of there. Everything in this game has a purpose. So, best way I could put it, to put it simply, Arc Raiders feels like a shooting game, but Minecraft. So imagine Minecraft, but as a shooting game. And what's so addicting is the fact that you could craft stuff, upgrade your workbench, and continue crafting things that you want. And in first glance, I thought there was like limited weapons, but it turns out no. Arc Raider has a ton of weapons. One of my favorite weapons, and I was super happy to unlock, was the Bettina. The Bettina is basically like a M1 Garand, but fully automatic, and it actually looks like one. For those of you who don't know what's an M1 Garand, it's basically a World War II weapon that's a rifle, and it's semi automatic. And because it's semi-automatic, it has limited fire range, but it's way better than a bolt action rifle. And because of that, it had a iconic firing noise, especially when it runs out of bullets and it does ding. But the Bettina, without the ding, it still has an iconic firing noise, and you could see the, how do I say this, the trigger mechanic going back and forth. And people like to call the Bettina a hybrid of the AK-47 and the M1 Garand, and it's fully automatic, and they use heavy ammo, which heavy ammo are fantastic against the robots. Against players, it's a little 50-50. And some people say that Bettina's not that great against players, but there are YouTube videos that showcase that no, you can still, do some damage against players. And matter of fact, it's actually good against players, but you need to upgrade it. Now, what I love about this game, aside from the fact that everything has a purpose, including the weapons, the balancing. In this game, I would dare say that it's very well balanced because all the weapons has specialties in terms of what you're up against. Best way I could put it, guns with heavy ammo, they do fantastic damage, but majority of them are designed against robots. I repeat, robots. In other words, the arcs, if we to use this game terminology. So the Bettina, as I described before, it's alright against players, but the weapon itself, it is fantastic against robots. In matter of fact, it's one of the best weapons in the game against robots. Now, there is another weapon that's high level and it's very difficult to find and of course craft, and it's called the Bobcat. The Bobcat is basically an SMG machine gun that shoots very fast, but it is weak against robots, almost useless against robots. I won't say almost, but it the thing is that it does very low damage against robots. In other words, arcs, if we were to use terminology here. However, against players, it is fantastic against players. Why? Because the very high rate of fire deletes the player's shield and health at the same time. And because of that, my goodness, the Bobcat, fantastic against PvP. So, same thing with this weapon that is called the grenade launcher, the Hall Cracker. As the name itself, Hall Cracker, it cracks the armor of the robots and is fantastic against robots themselves. You could actually take down one of the boss robots, and sadly I didn't got any footage. I used it against the matriarch, but sadly I didn't got footage, and it was fantastic. It destroyed the matriarch's armor and we were shredding it afterwards. Same thing with Bastion, same thing with other big robots such as the Leaper. But the Hall Cracker, despite being amazing against robots, against the arcs, it is useless against players, and that is intentional. Because imagine a grenade launcher that could shred players. That's technically overpowered if you guys think about it, and it is. It is overpowered. So to balance it out, they make the weapon specialty against arc, robots. And same thing with the Bettina. But the Bettina is still manageable in terms of PvP, so you can still take down players, and it does pretty good damage. But the thing is that there are other weapons such as shotguns, Bobcat, which I mentioned, even the Stitcher, which is a beginner SMG, it is amazing against players. So yeah, that's another thing why I like Arc Raiders because of the balancing stuff and the specialty of other weapons. And then one thing I want to add, especially with this background footage, is the looting. I love the augmentation for looting, and I managed to fully upgrade my workbench for the tier 3 looting cautious, and it's amazing for solo play. So if you guys want to like go out and raid solo, get the looting cautious Mark 3 because this is amazing. Your pack is super full, and you feel like you you're like a one man raider that's out there just to loot. I repeat, just to loot. It gets other players or very difficult robots such as Shredder, Leaper, Bastion, etc., etc. It's better to get the Combat Mark II augmentation and use the heavy shield, and of course, bring in your best weapons. But here in this background gameplay, I equipped the Mark III cautious augmentation, and I only brought in the Stitcher because I knew that I'm not trying to get into fights with other player or with bigger robots. I just wanted to loot, and my goodness, I used this augmentation to its fullest, and I love it. I managed to get so much resources out of this gameplay. So yeah, guys, all I gotta say is that this game is amazing, and it reminds me of Modern Warfare 2 DMC, but in my opinion, this is way better than that. Way better. And the developers did an amazing job at it. Well, guys, I'm gonna end it here, and please like and subscribe. Write a comment down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially about this game. And please tell me what's your favorite item, what's your favorite weapon to use in this game. Mine is the Bettina. I really love that weapon, but sadly, it's kind of pricey and expensive to make. But still, I would still love it. And yeah, tell me all your thoughts and all that stuff. Cal Dallas Gamer, over and out.